The next topic on the agenda is entitled Shyness as one of the student-centered EAP instruction hindering issues and ways to overcome it. Please put your hands together for Dr. Sarah Hussein Bailey.
Thank you so much for your very good introduction. First of all, I'm happy to be here in front of this distinguished public, right? Thank you so much for giving me this chance to present in front of you. And I would like to say a few words about myself because I've been here only for 2 weeks, as you know, and nobody knows me. Where I'm from, what I'm actually doing. I come from Canada, and I live in Guelph, Ontario. I teach at Samir campus, the girls' campus. I work in a magnificent team with very professional colleagues under very strong management of Dr. Ola and Dr. Palima. I'm very proud, I'm very engaged, and I would like to say why I'm here. I'm here probably to improve my skills of teaching. As a background information, I can tell about myself that I can say that I've got an extensive English as a second language teaching background. I've got a BA, a Bachelor in Arts, actually a Bachelor of Arts in Teaching English as a Second or Foreign Language from Moscow State Linguistic University. I've got a PhD in Linguistics, in Theoretical Linguistics in the section of Semantics. I'm a certificate graduate of the University of Saskatchewan, of the schools of the College of Education there, and I've got a TESOL Ontario certificate and also TESOL Canada certificate. I've got a TESOL trainer certificate in teaching theory and methodology. I've taught actually in 4 universities at 2 colleges. The universities are Trent in Peterborough and Oshawa. I've been teaching the base program at the University of Waterloo, which is a bridge to academic success in English, right? So I've got a lot of experience to share here with my students, and again, I'm very happy to be here. What is the topic today? The topic is shyness. Actually, I can relate to this topic very much. I can see that I'm all red in front of you. I'm all anxious, right? So actually, what I'm doing, I'm helping, first of all, myself to overcome shyness, being here in front of you. First of all, I would like to ask you, what do you think shyness is? What do you think shyness is?
Fear.
Fear, right. What kind of fear? Yes, please. Absolutely. Shyness, very, very good. Thank you, gentlemen. So shyness is a fear of being judged by public, right? This is what it is. Right now, I would like to distribute some paper so that we can do some tests on shyness, right? Maybe you don't consider yourself to be shy at all, but let's see. Let's imagine that you're a teenager. Let's turn back like 20 years ago. For 20 years ago, please distribute this. And we're going to answer some questions with you. So, how is your self-esteem? There are 4 answers. I'm sorry I didn't have actually time to prepare this on the PowerPoint yesterday. I wanted it to be interactive, right? So I just added this to my presentation, if you allow me. And I promise I'll keep within my time limit, okay? So, how is your self-esteem? There are possible ways of answering this question. A, I am so proud of myself. B, I have confidence, I get better every day. C, I want to improve myself. D, I'm very insecure about myself. Please choose your answer. Again, the first one, A, I'm so proud of myself. I'm so conceited. B, I have confidence. I get better every day. Number C, I want to improve myself. Number D, I'm very insecure about myself. Please choose your answer. Next. You can choose 2 answers. Yes. So, let's imagine you're a teenager and you have to make a presentation in class. And the teacher somehow doesn't call your name. What do? You stand up and say, "It's my turn, teacher." Second answer, you sit and hope the teacher will ask you. Number C, you tell the teacher that you have a problem and can't make your presentation. And number D, you still wait and wait to be asked. Did you make a choice? Thank you so much. Let's go on. A very negative situation. The teacher yells at you for something you didn't do. What is your reaction? You act bored. This is answer number A. Answer number B, you say, "I didn't do anything." Number C, you stay quiet. And number 4 is a dramatic ending. Number D, you cry and say, "I will never do it again," though you haven't done that. So, the last question. How did you react when a teacher calls you by the wrong name? A, you tell the teacher your name. B, you ignore the situation. Number C, you are very upset. You're very upset with the teacher because he or she didn't remember your name. And number D, you cry because you're very upset. Very extreme situation. I hope your choices were A, B, and possibly C in all those questions. And if you had actually answers C and D, possibly you've got some kind of shyness in you, right? I hope this is not a pathological shyness, because if a person has got a pathological shyness, then it's very, difficult for that person to be in front of the public. And I'm sure that you're all are outgoing people, and you don't suffer from pathological shyness. So how shy are you really? So shyness can be both genetic and inherited, right? Chronic genes linked to chronic shyness are linked also to the gene of anxiety. Do you know what is the gene of anxiety by any chance? Yes, there is a gene for anxiety. Scientists say that this gene is called STG gene, which is serotonin transporter gene. So this serotonin transporter gene is known as shyness gene. So they have found the shyness gene. Of course, you were quite right saying that shyness is a fear of being judged by people. Who do you think suffer from shyness most? Children, adults, adolescents? Who do you think? Teenagers? What do you think? Teenagers? Do you have some other opinions on that?
It's not only fear of being judged. Sometimes there could be corporal punishment.
Yes, fear of being judged and being punished, right? Absolutely true.
Some kind of violent reaction.
Yes. And it comes all from the background, actually, from the families, from the inheritance, from the culture sometimes, right? We're going to look into that, and thank you very much for adding this very valuable information. I just want to answer this question. Actually, the most shy people on the planet are children. Small children, not teenagers. Children tend to suffer from pathological shyness even the most, right? There are 3 concepts that explain the phenomena of extreme shyness. Normal shyness. I consider me to be a normally shy person, right? And normal shyness is very common during adolescence, the age of our students. Young people are shy because they haven't adapted to a particular event or a situation, and they feel very uncomfortable in those situations. Second concept is social phobia. It is something negative. It is an extreme form of behavior. As a social phobic person will be avoiding all forms of confrontation or connection with other people. And they will feel anxious and fearful when around others. So I'm going to show you an episode from a movie. Probably all of you already recognize that movie. King's Speech, right. And this is one of the best movies ever shot about anxiety, about social phobia. And as you know, the center of this story is a drama, is a actually real biographical drama. And the director of this film is Tom Hooper. And the main actor, of course you recognized him, is Colin Firth, right? Colin Firth, he has won actually an Oscar for this movie. And this story is of King George VI of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, who suffered from social anxiety and was stuttering. And he got help from his speech therapist. And he was very afraid of public speaking. He couldn't speak in public, right? So let's watch this episode from the movie and actually try to feel all this actually anger, all this condition inside of a person who actually is suffering from social phobia.
In this grave hour, perhaps the most fateful in our history, I send to every household of my peoples, both at home and overseas, this message, spoken with the same depth of feeling for each one of you as if I were able to cross your threshold and speak to you myself. For the second time in the lives of most of us, we are at war. Over and over again, we have tried to find a peaceful way out of the differences between ourselves and those who are now our enemies. But it has been in vain. We have been forced into a conflict. For we are called to meet the challenge of a principle which, if it were to prevail, would be fatal to any civilized order in the world. Such a principle, stripped of all disguise, is surely the mere primitive doctrine that might is right. For the sake of all that we ourselves hold dear, it is unthinkable that we should refuse to meet the challenge. It is to this high purpose that I now call my people at home and my peoples across the seas, who will make our cause their own. I ask them to stand calm and firm and united in this time of trial. The task will be hard. There may be dark days ahead, and war can no longer be confined to the battlefield. But we can only do the right as we see the right, and reverently commit our cause to God. If one and all we keep resolutely faithful to it, then with God's help we shall prevail.
So, as you can see, even kings have this feelings of social phobia, irrespective of the fact that he's got a brilliant education. You know, thank you for reminding me. So, irrespective of the fact that the king has got a brilliant education, actually he used to be very shy in his childhood, and he got the social phobia, and actually that prevented him from giving public speeches during all his life. So imagine how a person actually feels in an uncomfortable situation. A young person, right? And probably he or she may suffer from the third type of shyness, which is a pathological shyness, and it's called psychiatric condition. So pathological shyness, the third concept, is actually a condition, a medical condition, psychiatric condition, but we're not going to talk about this today. And the person feels that she or he is not acceptable by the society. It's a very serious condition. So let's now try to connect this background information with what we have in our EAP classroom, English for academic purposes. I just want to ask you, did you have shy students in your classes? Yes? Everybody? Very good. Thank you so much. I would like actually to thank you for watching the episode. And I'm sure that you felt the struggle, right, within that person, within that character of King George VI. And I assure you that this same kind of struggle sometimes occurs in the soul of our students when they are in a new environment, in front of a new teacher, and they're studying a new subject. For example, listening or speaking or something else. So now I'm going to go to my PowerPoint presentation, and we'll talk about EAP classroom. So I hope I have a clicker here somewhere. And could you make it, yeah. Thank you. So, shyness is one of the student-centered EAP instruction hindering issues and ways to overcome it. Of course, we've got 3 ways of, approaching the English language classroom. We've got inquiry-based, problem-based, project-based approaches, and we use these approaches on a daily basis. But of course, when we talk about problem-based, we don't mean the problems of the classroom, which really exist in class. Okay, so, for some reason, let's see. Okay, so the end product of our student-centered methods will develop more critical thinking. Actually, this is our target, to have critical thinking skills in our students and to better prepare our EAP students for skills development. And irrespective of the fact how advanced and thoughtful the student-centered methods are, we have to deal with problems even within the creative academic environment. And serious issues, of course, exist and hinder, right, the development of student success. We already talked about the shyness. I'm going actually to talk more about shyness, but of course there are other issues. And I'm sure that if I'm talking about like how to keep your students engaged with the class activities, with their all-time desire to use their cell phones and connect with their friends, then you will remember this problem and you will try to address it during your classes. Should the native language, for example, of the students be allowed in the class? How to regulate its usage during the class? And one of the most challenging issues for me particularly was how to make it possible for shy female students, teenagers, to engage in the class and group discussions. So let's see, I would like to focus now on shyness. Main social and environmental causes of shyness in the EP classroom. You can see our beautiful city of Upper here, right? And we're going to talk about students, of course, here, not probably overall in the whole world. Besides having genetic predisposition to shyness, our students could have grown up with a strict relationship with parents and siblings. Our students grew up in mostly traditional families and are likely to be inhibited in social interactions. It's very important that we recognize that, and we could understand that the culture of the students are very important. This culture, Eastern cultures, the way, the children are treated in the Eastern cultures may have its connection to a lot of students actually being shy and having kind of a social phobia. For example, scientist Benton points out the differences in the way each culture deals with attributing credit for success and blame for failure, because it's very important that you do not attribute the blame for failure to a child when he is a child, because that will lead to him or her growing without self-worth, self-confidence. In addition to family and culture, of course, the technology plays a significant role. It was mentioned here at the conference, at the workshop today, that the number of shy people has risen according to statistics in the US, and it's not only in the US, but all around the world, from 40 to 50% in recent years. Other causes of EAP student shyness and inadequate activity is closed environment, especially for ladies, right? Dark classrooms, you can see that our classrooms sometimes are, of this kind, with closed windows sometimes, and also seasonal issues. What the weather we had during this past week, correct? When there are increased levels of darkness, it hinders the production of serotonin, right? Remember about SDG, we were talking about, gene, and it hinders the production of serotonin, a chemical that helps transmit nerve impulses, which are so important in the language acquisition and the developmental processes in the brain. And I would like to say that I used to sit at a lot of lectures during my teaching at the University of Waterloo, and we were to sit there with our students and listen to psychology lectures. And actually, I got a lot of information about neuropsychology at that point, and it was very interesting actually to see the practical results of those lectures, and I actually was able to implement some of the suggestions of the professor during my own classes. So what are those ways to overcome shyness in students in the EAP classroom? What do you think? I would like to address this question to you. What do you think is the way to overcome shyness? Any ideas? Personal example is very good. Actually, I'm going to finish by the personal example, because the instructors in the class are the leaders by themselves, and as you know, languages are taught by simulation. So it's very important to give, your own example, to your students, right? What else? Absolutely, create the correct environment so that, to keep possibly the shyness out, to involve students more, correct? Yes, thank you so much. I would like to, yes? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Absolutely right. It's actually so important to be able to see all your students in class. For me, one of my actually very challenging issues was to remember the names of the students, right? So I cannot by any chance, remember all the names of my students, but I would like to do that so much, right? Because it actually makes the communication easier and improves the self-worth of a student. Sometimes we can do something, sometimes we are unable, do, something in that sphere. So I would like to talk about the ways to overcome shyness here, as an addition to what you've already said. First of all, to use a lot of confidence-building content during reading, listening, and to show assertiveness, boosting, and connection-establishing videos. There are a lot of videos of such kind on the net, and I would advise sometimes to actually use TED Talks. They have a lot of actual information and good videos on, assertiveness boosting videos, which will help us in our classroom. As for myself, I'm using psychology means, self-confidence boosting audio CDs and DVDs from time to time during my classes. Quotes, for example, of famous people who reached a lot in their lives. Let's say they were shy before, but then they achieved the results. So we're actually trying to, improve the shyness of the students, actually improve their skills, not only on the basis of our experience, as you said, but also on the basis of the experience of other famous people. Next. So, we can show the connection between the hard work and the good grades. I know that sometimes less persistent students may shy off as they consider themselves to be less smart than their high-achieving, hard-working peers. So by showing how hard work actually is connected to the final result, we can actually boost the confidence of our students, of our weak students, right? So they won't think, okay, I'm not smart enough, right? We have to somehow boost the confidence so that they will see that their actually, marks are connected with work which they put into their assignments. Then I would apply more group and pair work during classes, give the possibility for a student to get engaged with peers and learn assertiveness from them, make confident speeches, right? Group work is so important for boosting self-confidence of students. And we have to teach the student how to prepare self-reliant presentations that boost their actually self-assertiveness so much. Also, to give students the opportunity to take part in the process of decision making. Of course, we cannot leave very important decisions for them, but we have to, probably to start asking their opinion at some point during the course, right? Maybe at the beginning of the course, maybe in the middle. So how to improve the instruction? Maybe they could give you, some very useful advice on that. And that actually would not only improve your instruction, but also boost their self-confidence. Then be sure to express great attitude to all the students and that they deserve attention. You should monitor student progress, but of course you should monitor the progress not openly in class, right? But always in private. You can praise sometimes students in class, but probably I wouldn't focus on praising like 2 or 3 people in class, because that will actually make the students think that they are less smart than their high-achieving students, right? High-achieving classmates. So you can play fun games full of humor, engage students of the group to form a bond between each other. Like, I want to share with you how I started here. I played a game, introduction game. I actually lined the students up according to the months of the birth. For example, January, February, March, and etc. I divided them into 2 groups, and they started to talk to each other according on the basis of the questions I gave them beforehand. They were actually connecting with each other and then introducing not themselves, but their classmates. So at this point, they connected with each other. They had some bond with each other, and at the same time, they had the opportunity to present themselves. The next step, which can be useful, is to create opportunities to build up on their strengths. For example, if they're good in something relevant to studying, they can talk about it. And they're sharing their pride and knowledge at the same time. What we're doing actually at the University of Waterloo in the base program, we were inviting sometimes peer leaders, and we were inviting students of the actual good students of the higher levels to come and talk about tests, to come and talk about exams, because it lessens the anxiety of students so much when not only a teacher is speaking about the tests and exams, but also their peers, right? Their friends, a little bit probably older peers are talking about how to, how to overcome the, their anxiety. And last, I would like to emphasize, somebody already from here talked about that. As languages are mostly learned through imitation, it's so important for a student to be incited and energized by you, by an instructor. As William Arthur Ward mentioned, the mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, and the great teacher inspires. That's very important that you show the students what you can do. And sometimes just let the students probably talk to you and ask themselves some questions like, why am I shy? I'm learning a new language. Why am I shy? I shouldn't be shy to make a mistake because all the people around me are doing the same. They're making mistakes. If you're talking funny, if you've got some accent, I know I've got some accent, I tend to think to myself, okay, all the native speakers are boring. I'm special, right? I should think like that to myself. And actually, you can try to inspire your students to talk more, irrespective of the fact that they are talking with an accent. Of course, don't force yourself. You can say to students, don't force yourself to talk, right? Take your time. You can take 20 seconds before answering, and allow yourself to be boring. this is all for today. Thank you so much for listening. So much.
Yes.
دكتور موفق اللي بعده مين؟
في معاك
Thanks a lot. We really appreciate Dr. Sarah's nice presentation. Our next guest will be Harry Ernest, and the title of the paper is Learning Styles, Learning Strategies, and Neuroscience, a model teaching technique based on their applications. Please.
No, this is not Thank you so much.
long press.
Could you help me with this? It's LPGA or USB, as you like. Okay. Let me just.
Are you going to use sound, doctor?
No. Only.
Do you need the pointer?
To tell you the truth, I don't. At the pointer, yeah,
Yes.
maybe, yeah, as a pointer. Yeah. But I'm going to ask you to help me. Sometimes I got something with animations on it,
Yes.
and sometimes I have a little bit of a problem. So, you can be
Okay.
available.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody speaks for you.
Okay. Okay.
You need it? Plug it?
Oh, so if you want to, yeah. Okay.
You need?
No.
If you
Well,
need.
yeah. No, not really.
Okay.
Oh yeah, go on. Yeah. Oh, how can I click it to change? Do you have a?
Yes.
Oh, this is it.
Change.
Okay.
PowerPoint, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Slow, yeah. I'm gonna put some, because if I put power, it's a bit quicker. That's it, okay.
Are you going to use the wireless?
Yes.
I know that.
This?
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, how can I, hold on, just a minute. F5, yeah?
yes.
F5. Like that? Oh, yeah. That's slow. No?
Yes.
Yeah?
This one, huh? This
Yeah.
first one?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
And what's the second one?
Next and the preface.
Okay, if I go back. This is, yeah.
This
then-
next, yeah,
Oh,
go
okay,
back.
okay.
You need this?
Hello, 1, 2, 3, testing, yes. Well, thank you very much for giving me the privilege of being able to talk to you. Let me just start by thanking Dr. Sarah there, and I'll give an example of how I was able to overcome shyness. I was afraid of rejection. This was in another country. I was afraid of people hearing my accent in Spanish. And one day I went to I was on a course, and a number of questions were asked, and I told them I was frightened of rejection. So within 20 minutes, I found myself in front of 100 people in a cinema, and I was talking to them before the film started. So it was just a matter of stretching myself. And anyway, I mean, fear is a good thing, but we should sort of stretch through it. Anyway, what would I like to do today? Use of factors, basically curriculum design or teaching techniques based on factors from educational psychology and neuroscience. Sounds pretty complicated, but it's quite simple, actually. Okay. Right, so basically... oh, here it is, yeah. Okay. So basically, what is learning? Basically, it's just understanding. How do we learn? By understanding, by repeating what we've understood, and having a challenge to help us accommodate it, yeah? So any language instruction event should at least include these, yeah? Okay, now, let's get on to some other factors which are quite important. Well, learning styles. We all have preferences in the way we process information, and consequently, as a result, in the way we learn. Now, what learning styles are there? Basically, they're visual. So if a person has a predominant visual learning style, then they would like to see images, pictures, color, visual aids, words replaced by pictures, color layouts in a special organization. Any student that has a visual learning style, those types of teaching aids would help. What about auditory? Auditory is another learning style. Somebody with a preference towards auditory thinking processing would like sound, they would like rhyme, they would like intonation. For example, drills those people would like would enjoy drilling. Another style is verbal, linguistic. The students would benefit by speaking and writing. They would like role plays to learn verbal exchanges. We have kinesthetic, which basically is feeling. You know, some people, they like to feel. They learn by touch, yeah? They prefer physical feelings of their actions. So things like writing and role playing would help them. We have another learning style, which is the solitary, intrapersonal. These people, they're sort of, I wouldn't say egocentric, but they like things, they want to see something personal in what they're doing. So they like to see a personal interest in the topics. They like to be also creative in role-playing. Then we have social, interpersonal. These people like to work with others, they like role plays, they like to work in groups. And then finally we have the logical, mathematical people who like to understand the reasons behind things. They like to think about systems. And these people, they are challenged by change. Now, basically, these are sort of 7 different learning styles. You have other models, the Jungian type learning styles, but I think for our students to know this would help our students a lot. So if you know a particular learning style of somebody, then you're able to access their thinking processes far better. For example, let's say you're talking to somebody who has a visual preference. Then you would say things like, now look at this. Do you see what I mean? Can you see this? Now, that type of language would be very quickly assimilated than somebody who had an auditory learning style. Now, there are ways to determine what learning preference, learning style somebody has. But obviously, it would be best to just design a technique which encompasses everything. That your learnings, your classroom lesson, your class lesson would reflect, would take into account of all of the learning styles. But let's say you were offered a very lucrative private class. I'm going to pay you 500 reals an hour, and you really wanted to give the best. So what would you do? You'd have to find out. It would be advantageous if you knew what type of learning style that person had. So how do we do this? Well, you can determine somebody's learning style by their eye movements. Now, this is not fantasy. This is actual psychological fact. I mean, the CIA, MI6. Yeah. I mean, they would use all this sort of stuff. Yeah. For example, now, to overcome somebody's habitual eye movements, you would ask a question like, what is something that is really important to you? Yeah? What is something that is really... Oh, Glenn, what is something that is really important to you? Think about it now. Yeah. Well... So, for example, if the eyes went up and left, he's remembering some imagery. He's remembering something that has actually happened. If his eyes went up right, he is basically constructing that image. In other words, if somebody does that, you know they are lying. Yeah, because they're constructing something rather than remembering it. Okay, now obviously this is based on right-handed people. Right-handed people. If you were talking about left-handed people, then the mirror image would be true. If they were ambidextrous, then you would find things of both in that person. Okay, so there you are. That's the constructed visual. They're basically imagining something. Remembered visual, well, it's an actual event. Constructed auditory, they're thinking something there to what they're about to tell you. That's what I'm doing now. Remembered auditory, a fact. Kinesthetic, people, so they sort of look down to the left, yeah? No, sorry. Look down to the right. They're feeling it. How do you feel about that? I don't know, yeah. They're feeling the thought. And then you've got auditory digital, which just means the inner voice. They're listening to their inner voice, yeah? So these are ways that you can actually determine a student's learning style. And in fact, it's quite a useful tool to have, yeah? Okay, so what have we got here now? Now, let's say learning styles are habitual. They're automatic. Whereas learning strategies are more conscious, more voluntary plans. Now you have metacognitive. Big word, just means thinking about thinking. Metacognitive means thinking about thinking. Thinking about or knowledge of the learning process. What do I know? What do I know? Planning for learning. What do I want to know? We've heard this repeatedly today. Students, it's beneficial for a student to actually be engaged or actually be allowed to make a decision of what they want to learn. I'm monitoring learning while it's taking place. What am I learning? Now, and then self-evaluation of learning after the task has been completed. Basically, testing. Now, some students think, or some teachers think, well, it's just a necessary part of the bureaucracy. We've got to give tests, and there's the grade, there's the quiz. But actually, it's a very, very powerful tool. A very powerful tool. Why? 100 years of research has shown that practice testing enhances learning and retention. It is actually a learning tool. Okay, then we have cognitive strategies. Well, these involve mental manipulation or transformation of materials or tasks which are intended to enhance comprehension, acquisition, or retention. Now, an ancient, and I say ancient, I mean very, very old indeed. An ancient and effective cognitive learning strategy is elaborate interrogation. Basically, that means why, the question word why. So one of the fundamental questions that we've been asking ourselves and others in one form or another for the past 2 million years, ever since the dawn of intellect, the dawn of consciousness, is why. Now, so the WH interrogative is as old as the beginning of our intellect. So it's no surprise, therefore, to find a large body of evidence that suggests that the power of explanatory questioning can be utilized to facilitate learning. And it's particularly powerful because why involves both elaborative learning and self-explanation, which is another cognitive learning strategy. So basically, I've chosen those because, in my opinion, I find them quite powerful tools to more or less guarantee learning in your class if you incorporate them in your teaching technique. Okay, now, the final thing I want to talk about is neuroscience. Language acquisition has a definite neural pattern in the brain. And there have been some studies on implicit, in other words, inductive, and explicitive, formal teaching of the second language and their effects. So, explicit and implicit second language training have been found to differentially affect the achievement of native-like brain patterns. I suppose the ideal goal of anybody, really, any language learner, is to be able to speak and to pass for a native speaker. Of course, that's an ideal situation, but it is possible. So in electrophysiological studies, basically, they connect something to the brain and they see what activity occurs for any given event. And these are called event-related potentials. So observing event-related potentials, ERPs, of low and high proficiency L2 learners, it was found there was a significant difference in their neural activity when receiving implicit, or you could say immersion-like, or inductive, communicative, meaningful type exposure, and explicit, the formal instruction. What Terry was saying, the inductive and deductive, if you like. Now, the implicit train group showed similarities to neural activity of native speakers, syntactic processing. So their brain activity was very similar to those of native speakers. So there must be something good about this inductive learning. There must be something good about it. I should also say that although this neural image was there, it didn't really reflect in their proficiency. But it was there in their brain, and it means that in the long run, language was forming in a native-like way, in a natural way. So their findings suggest that implicit training may be better than explicit training at realizing gains toward the attainment of high proficiency. Now, this finding would support the view that although immersion learning ESL in an L1 English environment, for example, I mean, I learned Spanish first by doing things like standing next to a place where they sold food, and I just listened to the people. And I mean, I didn't understand very much Spanish. I couldn't even. I could speak a couple of words, and I liked a particular food, and I'd hear somebody say, "Tres suadero, por favor," and you know, and many people, "Oh, dos suadero, por favor, cinco suadero, por favor," and then I would go, and I knew 2 or 3 up. I would say, "Dos suadero, por favor," and he would give it to me, and it was meaningful, and that stayed in my brain, and basically I learned by having those sort of chunks of information, those islands of communication. Then I had to study grammar to sort of put it all together. Anyway, so that was a long paraphrase. Where am I? Yes. Now, so this finding that implicit, like training, is superior than explicit, supports a view that although immersion learning ESL in an L1 English environment, in my case in a Spanish-speaking environment, is superior to classroom training. Well, that's common sense. The use of immersion-like meaningful communicative material in teaching aids in helping students reach high proficiency suggests an advantage over explicit training. Now, however, it was found that studies of target language development, English in our case, show that explicit training conditions, rule instruction, are more effective than implicit training conditions in focusing learners' attention to target language forms. In other words, they focus, at low proficiencies, they focus the learner into the target language, which is what we need to introduce new language items in the classroom. So the conclusion is the students of the proficiency range in our classes here would benefit from both inductive and deductive instruction using communicative type material. Yeah? Okay, so here we go. Now this is the, that was the educational psychology and neuroscientific factors which sort of guarantee learning. Now the thing is, what did I come up with? What would I use that incorporates virtually 98% of those factors? Well, here they are. Now, you'll have to excuse my... okay, here we go. Now, basically, I'd use sort of pictures. Now, there's something wrong there because it's not coming up. This basically is a lesson. This would be more or less one lesson for introducing the simple present, for the use of the simple present. So we would have, using the projector, hint, hint, nod, nod, projector. Yeah, could we have those in the classrooms? Using this projector, I would introduce, for example, I would say, I wake up at 4:40. Let me see if I can get this to work. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. I wake up at 4:40. And I would go on. For example, I take a... it's a bit slow. Come on. I take a shower. Yeah, no. You take a shower. You take a shower. Yes? And I would get choral repetition at this point. You know, the class would be repeating, you take a shower. They would say, I would say, and they would repeat, there you go. He brushes his teeth, yeah? She what? She studies. She studies at King Khalid University. It drinks water. We play football. And of course, this would be cold repetition here. You study at King Khalid University, and they eat healthy food. Yeah? So, and then I would go back again, and I would basically drill this. I would drill this. Hold on. I was drill using the pictures. Yes? And I would use substitution drills. For example, somebody would say, basically, I wake up at whatever. I can't remember. You take a shower. Yes? After that, then I would do substitution drills. I wake up. You wake up. He wakes up. They wake up. Stuff like that. Eat. I would use substitution drills. Then I would go on then to, if this, oh, good grief, yeah. I would actually give the formal explanation. This is the formal explanation. Now, this is the deductive explanation. I wake up, you take a shower, he brushes his teeth, she studies. Of course, I'd be a little bit better than this when I did it. It drinks, we play. You study, and they eat. Okay, which reflects the pictures. Okay, so basically, then they've looked at the pictures. They've had substitution drills. Then they've had this formal explanation, and you would outline, you would emphasize the he, she, and it with S. I mean, this should be a lot faster, but you can, when you get the hang of it, you can adjust the speeds. Like I'm highlighting now the S. Okay, anyway. So what next? Now, then I would just, after giving the drills and the explanation, I would also then give the uses. For example, the simple present is used for habits. And I would only use a simple explanation. I won't go into schedules and future and stuff like that using simple present, just for habits, actions again and again. And we have these modifiers, these time words. When, what? When, every day, these adverbs, adverbial phrases, on Saturdays, etc., etc. On Mondays, weekdays, on Fridays, on the weekends, in Ramadan, yeah, at Eid, yes. Now you notice also I'm using pictures about using the local culture, yes, so they can identify. Not seeing somebody from another country, totally different culture, the interpersonal people will see themselves reflected in these examples. For example, then we go on to the negative. For example, I wake up at 4:40, I don't wake up, I take a shower, I don't take a bath, he brushes his teeth, he doesn't brush his hair, she studies at King Khalid University, she doesn't study at home. Well, sorry, it drinks water, it doesn't drink milk. They play football, they don't play baseball. They study at King Khalid University, they don't study at King Saud. They eat healthy food, they don't eat junk food. Yeah. Okay, and then I go again with this formal instruction again. The negative subject, we use an auxiliary verb with the adverb not. Now you notice the he, she, and it is absent here. Why is it absent? Because I want to emphasize it because students have problems with using the S. Yeah. Okay. Now, if I can just go on. I'm sorry about the slowness here. It's there you go. Look, see. For example, he brushes. What is the negative? Come on, come on, come on. There you go. The S. You take up the S from brushes, and then you. Hold on. It goes on to do. Okay. He does not brush. Brushes now becomes brush. Come on, come on. You see, you're highlighting this S, yes? Okay. So, and you notice I have a color scheme. I'm using the subject is green, the verbs in blue, the adverb in black, although really it becomes purple later on. But once the students become accustomed to this color scheme, and you use color schemes for different parts of speech, there is a type of internalization of the grammar. Okay. I mean, this is very slow. I mean, I should have adjusted the speed here, but I'm sorry. I'm sort of, yeah. I'm sort of really emphasizing, highlighting this S, yeah? It's not rocket science to do these type of presentations on PowerPoint. So now I'm going to, and I would then drill with the negative as well. After that, I would drill with the negative. And now I'm going to explain the interrogative. Do I wake up at 4:40 a.m.? Yes, you do. Do you wake up at 4:40 a.m.? Yes, I do. Do you wake up at 6? No, I don't. Because they've already done the negative. Do we play football? Yes, we do. Do you study at KSU? Yes, no, we don't. Do they eat healthy food? Yes, they do. Now I go on, obviously, to the does. For example, he brushes his teeth. We need the auxiliary verb at the beginning. Do. The ES goes on to the do, becomes. I mean, you'd have to adjust the speed for your teaching styles. I mean, this is very slow. For example, does he brush his teeth? Yes, he does. Does she watch television? No, she doesn't. Does it drink milk? No, it doesn't. I mean, all these things correspond to the pictures. For example, then I go into a substitution drill. Does he like milk? Water, does he like water? Does she like water? Substitutional drills. Then I'd go through transformational drills. I would say something like, change. I'll say, negative. I speak English. I don't speak English. And do all this. Go through, he speaks French. He doesn't speak French. You go through all substitutional, transformational drills of all the stuff you just learned. And what does this do? You can check pronunciation. It gives them repetition. And then you go into a less controlled situation, which is the students ask questions using the pictures. And this basically would be a lesson. In order to really consolidate everything, try to use the 4 skills in every lesson. That is speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Now here we have a very simple communicative exercise, very simple. Have the students write 3 things that they do every day on a piece of paper. They swap with their partner and then write down what their partner does every day on a separate piece of paper. Obviously, they've got to ask what the partner does. Then they join the information to write something like, every day I blah, 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 3 sentences. My friend, blah, 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 3 sentences. Yes? So basically, then that's it. So to sum up, and finally, you use a game-like activity to put it all together. You can do a quiz that you've prepared in Kahoot. You do that at the end because everybody will be screaming and shouting and having a good time. So basically, that would be my class using those factors, using the educational psychology and neuroscientific factors. That's it. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Harry. Mr. Harry, in fact, you fulfilled your promise and you were not that shy, but your time management was not that good, you see, because you actually got 10 minutes extra. So, anyhow, we really appreciate you.
And another part of the philosophy is don't take anything personally.
Yeah. Anyhow, our next presenter will be Mr. Augustine, and the paper entitled TESOL in 21st Century.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It is a real honor for me to be here, and I would like to thank the Deanship as well as Dr. Mofak for the invitation to come in and present, and to all of you for being here. The theme is TESOL, Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages in the 21st Century. I just gave you an envelope. Just keep everything in the envelope, and I will tell you, because every paper that you have inside is labeled 1, 2, and 3. We're going to use each one of them at a time, okay? So please keep it there, and I'll tell you when to use them. These ideas of what is necessary for the teachers is to be more productive and successful in the classroom, as well as for the students to be able to acquire the language, come from the influences that I got from the professors that I had at SIT during the master's program. Thank you very much. When I went to Michigan University for the PhD, then believe it or not, I have almost the same professors that I had at the master's program. So the influence just continued. And I want to thank King Khalid University for giving me the opportunity to go back to teaching after so many years of administrating, supervising, and training teachers in many different places. And I've been in Saudi Arabia for 6 years already. And tell you the truth, it's been a great experience, especially now that I have a great team at King Khalid University, and where we have shared so many different things and ideas. And those who came before me, the presenters, the colleagues who came before me, they said a lot of the things that I have put together. And it probably looks like we all got together and then we say, you're going to say this and I'm going to repeat that. And, but yes, I'm glad to see that a lot of the things that were said are pretty much getting into the 21st century of teaching. Are we having problems? Excuse me.
I can use a Mac. You know, if there are some switch.
They told me yes. They
switch,
told me that I can use Mac.
I don't have no idea.
You know there are a switch. No display. I was told yes. I knew that. Sorry, we have a technical problem here.
I have a Windows computer, you know.
Maybe transfer this and put another
Put it
Windows,
in another computer.
with a Windows computer.
Windows computer is working.
The Windows.
were using that before.
Yes, I know, but it's a display. You know,
Can I see?
there are
Yeah, because this is a
some
Mac.
switch. Yes,
So we'll be right back.
How do you get to the copy? This copy. How do you get to the place where you have the?
It has to be
Down there. In the
down there.
computer.
Just about. Yes.
Which is
Just where
which is
at the top is the 21st century. TISA in the 21st century.
ايوه ما هو مش ينفع تشغل هناك برضه. عايزين حد يكون ده.
Can you take this?
No, no, it's okay. I'll try it in my computer.
Okay, just take it back.
Now let's put it on.
Which is your TESO,
TISA, you say it is on now?
think it's ready. Yes, we're going to transfer to this one. Diesel, 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 diesel. This one here. This is the one. Okay. Save us. But where do you have this file?
This file is a press full stop. Go double click. No, go double click on it. And then you can save it as. No, that's not it. No, go to that one. Yes. And then double click. It doesn't have save it as.
No, where do you have that file?
No, you say that you got it.
Alright, but you need to try to save it as. Because it's not the page, it's the whole thing. Let's see if it works like this. Save as.
That's it.
Let's see if it's saved. I doubt it.
Is that there?
Open file location. You haven't saved it as a PowerPoint
No,
presentation.
no, no, no.
That's not going
But the thing is, like, for instance, if it is here,
let me just try one thing quick.
the mic is here.
I'm going to give him 5 minutes to break.
Go ahead, yeah, 5 minutes.
Okay, gentlemen, 5 minutes break. 5 minutes break. We'll come back.
I know, but you have PowerPoint. You won't be able to copy Breezy here.
ما في شيء بصوت. مين؟
So, gentlemen, we really would like to welcome Dr. Ahmed Mubashir, the General Coordinator of the Joint Programs, PYP. The last session for today will be presented by mutual session, in fact, by Reem Dakhil and Ghada Ghabbash, to be entitled ELT. Please.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Okay, my name is Rimi Dakhil. I am a lecturer at King Khalid, previously at Albi University in Syria. And today, inshallah, we're going to present you, we're going to give a presentation about how to use communicative activities in teaching reading. Okay.
I'm Ghada Ghabbash, and I'm also a lecturer at King Khalid University. I used to lecture at Aleppo University in Syria previously. This is the first time we present in a conference here, so we'd like to welcome you. Thank you for being here. We're glad to have you. Our presentation is kind of practical. We are not going to give theory on how to teach reading. We'll be focusing mostly on using some activities that apply communicative approach to stages of reading. So we will be dividing this session into 3 parts, focusing first on the pre-reading stage with a few activities, and then the during reading stage, and then we'll move to the post-reading.
Okay. First of all, we'll start with why do we use communicative approach in teaching in general? Okay. So first of all, we will see that according to Littlewood, he said that we can provide a whole task practice, we can improve motivation for students, and we can allow natural learning and create a context. Why? Because the communication they do in classroom has a relationship with the communication they do in their natural real world. So they feel more relaxed about their learning in the class when you use communication activities. And there's a relationship they feel the relationship between the classroom and the real world. So whatever they communicate in the classroom, they do it outside the classroom, and their communication they use outside, they use in the classroom. So they feel more relaxed. They feel that their learning is more natural to them. And in his own words, he said, many aspects of language learning can take place only through natural processes, which are in progress when a person is involved in using the language for communication. So this is the purpose of using communication in classroom.
Okay, so why reading? We are using reading particularly as a skill. Don't you think that reading has this kind of uniqueness that for students, I don't know, what do you think? Do you think it's an easy task to do reading? Do you think our students actually enjoy it, like it? Not really. Reading is not something that's very interesting for everyone. You can have like just a few students who enjoy it, while the rest feel it's a burden. They feel it's hard work to do. So our task is to make it more interesting, to make them more motivated to do it. So this is what we're trying to do in these activities. According to Patrick Howarth, he says reading is, of course, just as communicative as any other form of language use. And as teachers, our aim is to bring out that communicative element. So we're going to start with these stages, but I'd like you to have a minute to think about how we can apply the communicative approach to teaching the reading skill in different stages. Can you take a minute, maybe brainstorm or have a discussion among you so that we can have some ideas? Just a minute. Okay, can I take some suggestions? Please? Yes.
We read, we teach them to read practical things, like for example,
Okay.
instructions for a computer, things that they're going to be doing in their lives, like
So the topic.
like instructions for a cell phone, things that are really related to their daily life.
So the teaching material, the selection of materials can be more related to their own life, so it's more practical to them. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add, please? You mean something related to improving their self-confidence?
Yeah, the shy student.
Right, yes, yeah. Like breaking the boundaries between the students' feelings and relaxation towards reading as a skill itself. Thank you. Yeah, right. Thank you very much. Okay, so
Yes, please.
please.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 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 Right, yes, yeah. Thank you very much. Like you're bringing about the idea of interaction between the reader and the text itself and the author behind this, like the intention of the author as well. So everything is related, right? Thank you. Okay, so we move on now. We're going to start with the first activity that is about the pre-reading stage. We just have a few suggestions.
Okay. Of course, our selections today were simple text because the level we're addressing at our university is like beginners. So we try to make them as simple as we can, and also just to give the idea. Okay, so first of all, in the pre-reading stage, just to try to get the students involved in what you're doing, just to get them to brainstorm about the topic or what they're going to read. So we suggested like using pictures, using flashcards or worksheets, asking questions, brainstorming, making lists, or using the spider maps. Okay, these are ways only to just get the students involved, motivated before you start your actual reading. Okay, so the first task, the first task is using pictures and having words to match with these pictures. So as a beginning, you can use this on the board and have a class discussion about it, or you can divide into groups. It's up to you. Like it's depending on the number of students you have, depending on the way you find convenient. So I'd like you to take a minute and try to match the words with the pictures, please. I know they're way too simple to you. Okay. 1 minute is too much for you. Okay, so
Give them some time.
Okay, so let's go for the first picture. So what do you think the word is? Governor. And then number 2? Now you're students, huh? Okay, so number 2. Okay, so there's a confusion. Okay, so what do you think? Number 2. Okay, so it's overweight, cafeteria. Okay, so what's number 3 then? Okay, so 4, 5, and 6, of course it shows. Okay. Okay. So these are the real answers. Okay, now from the pictures, what can you tell? What is the topic about? You can discuss and just give me your opinion. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yes, please. Obesity. Okay. Health.
So the governor is putting some new laws, new rules for people to lose weight, to exercise, and eat less junk food.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Yes.
A government campaign for the obesity among young children.
Did you read the text? Okay. Okay, that's a very good answer. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is one way. Another way is not using the picture, just trying to say, like flashcards, if you want to distribute them to students, again, make them a class discussion, it's up to you. So you can, if your number is big, you can give each flashcard to one group. If your number is smaller, then you can give the 3 flashcards to each group. They can reflect on the questions and try to find answers. So what is junk food? Can you tell me what's junk food? Okay. Like examples, okay, what? Yeah. Because actually, like with the level of our students, this is going to be like suitable. So they can answer you with like chips, candies, chocolate, right? I don't know, salad. Okay. Okay. Type. What are the effects of eating junk food on children? And you shouldn't remember the picture from the previous activity because overweight, yeah. Yeah, diabetes, yeah. Yeah, diabetes, hypertension, yeah, that's right. Okay, and the last one, what can the government do to help children be healthy? Okay, yeah, so a healthy program for food at schools, right? Okay. In class, so it's at school. Okay, so you can set a program at school to make children eat healthy and exercise, right? Okay, so the same thing you can do with lists or spider maps. You can do the lists in groups. You can do them as a class discussion. Again, discussing the same ideas to try to predict the topic, to try to see what is the topic they're going to read about. Okay? So now that we have your suggestions, and this is the actual topic. Okay, so we noticed that it's a governor who wants kids to eat healthy. As you all said, suggested, it's like a school program to keep children from being obese, from having health problems by having exercise and eating food. So what we did here is like we asked students to predict the topic and communicate about it. Okay.
So now we're just going to go through quickly the kind of the objectives or the rationale behind using such activities. I'm going to go through these stages. As you noticed, we did like brainstorming, listing, pictures, matching, and like all these predicting. Now, the reasons behind doing all these things that we suggest, and of course you can add other things, improves the problem-solving skill. As you notice, like they have a problem, like they're finding out when they have to guess, when they have to predict, they have to discuss things together, they have to decide together on the right picture for the right title, for example. They have to find out whether their prediction was correct or not. So it involves this skill. And the next one is like increases the motivation because, as I said at the beginning, reading is a burden to a lot of students. So if they are ready, if they are motivated, if they know why they are reading something or they have a purpose behind the reading, this makes them more motivated. And the last thing is about encouraging them to share ideas and share previous knowledge, because it also involves their medical knowledge somehow about, or general knowledge about junk food, about health, about social problems, problems at school, and also language things, because some students would know the word governor, other students would not actually know the meaning, so they have to share this, they have to depend on their previous knowledge. Now also using this as a group work or pair work, this will improve the communicative skill. That's our aim in this presentation. We suggested a list of things here, you can read them, like taking the teacher's role. So it actually encourages them to be autonomous, like they sit together, one student can be the leader in each group, so leading will just give him the role of the teacher. And that's very encouraging to them. It also enhances critical thinking. They have to react to the text, improves communication skills, as some people have to say their opinion, others have to listen. So it includes all of these skills together. They have to share ideas, and it allows shy students, coming back to the idea of shyness, working in pairs, working in groups. It really helps shy students to feel more secure. They don't have to be exposed to the rest of the class every time. They can share in small groups or pairs. Okay, now we will move on to applying this skimming, okay? Communication in skimming a text. Now we're moving to the during reading. We're going to have groups now, and we're going to have different texts. Because already you had the look at the text, so we're going to have 3 different texts that are very short, very simple, so they're going to save time. And I'd like to be in 3 groups. I don't know if that's possible, because we have passages here. Yes? So we actually worked on colors, because that's easy for making groups. So we have a group of yellow. So the passage is in yellow, blue, and green. Supposedly, in your classrooms, and it's up to you to do it now or just pretend that you're doing it, but in the classroom, the group that has each text will sit together. So we will have a group with yellow, a group with blue, and a group with green, and they're going to have different texts. Now the task starts by starting to look at the titles, looking at the text, skimming the text, and deciding on the title for each of these texts. For beginners, this is going to take time. I don't think it will take time with you. Okay, so can I get some answers? Okay, let's check. So the yellow one, were you correct? Okay. That's the title, 50-year-old crime. And that's the passage. Okay. And then the next text. Okay, a would-be robbery. Was that correct? Yeah, I assume so, of course. It's too easy. Okay, and next one. Right, so what we do in class is we actually check the answers with the students. We see if each group can do it. I just started with the during reading stage. We could do this as a previous. We can use the titles to predict as well, but I skipped this stage as we did it in previous text. So I'll move on now. These are our suggestions, and this is why we have these questions that can be linked to the text as well. So each group has to look at the sentences and to link their sentences to the passage they've read. So you can choose the numbers that suit your text. So we look at the answers. I know this is too easy and we need to save some time. So we just look at the answers. We just arrange them this way. After the groups finish, we can just show the answer. And what skills we involved in these two activities, you think? Yeah? Okay, exactly. Thank you very much. So we just had to analyze this skimming, scanning, and listening and speaking if we do it in groups. So they have to actually discuss, listen to each other, and discuss things together. Now we'll move to post-reading.
Okay. When you ask students to work in group, actually these are some suggestions. Now, you can, after we finish the during reading stage, we move to the post-reading stage, right? So after they finished, you have to check their understanding and see whether they understood what they read or not. So they can answer comprehension questions, like, you know, the usual thing we do in reading, and react to the text, like say their opinions and see how much they understood, express what they understood in writing or in speaking, and discuss the vocabulary meaning of certain words that you highlight, or they choose by themselves the things that try to infer the words. And you can make a vocabulary game that they can play in class, so that you can check that they understood the vocabulary that they came across when they were reading. Okay, so of course you can make this as a contest in class because they are already groups. So you can ask them who can answer the yellow, because you're going to have something like 3 yellow groups maybe, or 2 yellow groups. Ask them who can give me the answers for these 2. Okay, so you already read the passages, right? Okay, so the first answer is what? When was the packet of biscuits stolen? C, yeah, it's like more than 15 years ago. And why did the thief decide to return the biscuits? In class, you can do it like a contest. Who's going to answer first? So that you encourage them. Yes, yes, please, yes. There's a motivated student already. Okay. Yes, please. So the answer is? D. Yeah, D, because the thief felt bad about it. And you can have a further discussion about feeling guilty about something. Okay, we all feel guilty about something. Okay, would-be robbery, the same thing. Who has the text of would-be robbery? Yes, so can you please answer? So number 1, what was the bank robber's mistake? Yeah, they shouldn't have phoned to say they were coming. And number 2, the robbers? Yeah, okay, failed in the mission. Yeah, see, failed in their mission. Actually, this is also going to give other students who didn't read the text an idea about what's going on in the other texts. Okay, and the present escape. The 2 escaping men were put in present for. Of course, it is robbing a shop, right? And what were the men seen wearing on their heads? Yeah, sheep's head with sheepskins. But their head was sheep's head. Okay, now,
Okay, and another activity that can be employed in this stage, the post-reading stage, is a vocabulary game. Basically, we all use vocabulary exercises and practices after we finish, like recycling the vocabulary, learning the vocabulary. We suggest a game here, and of course there are other ways, so many different ways. Our suggestion is just a game. Some people call it taboo. I don't know if it has other names, where you just have a card. So we just prepared cards, and we have to divide the classroom into 2 teams. And then each team, we take a person. The person has to look at the word, read the word, not show it to the rest of the team, but has only 30 seconds. Sometimes I do it a minute, actually, depending on the words, depending on the level, but roughly 30 seconds to explain the word to the team. And the team has to guess. And we just have to count the points. So this is how I explain it. And I don't know if we can try it for a minute or 2. Yes? Okay? Is it possible to be teams? Okay, so let's see, like, starting here. We have this team number 1 and team number 2. Okay? You decide where you belong. All right? So I need a volunteer from team 1. Any volunteers? Well, the students are more active, I know that. Now, as I have 3 colors, I have to check with Passage here, right, so that he can take the same color. Okay? He can take a word that he read in context. It was yellow. So you're going to take a word.
But you can't mention the
Choose
word
one?
that your team. Just
And
explain.
then
And then you don't read it to your group, you just look at it.
yeah.
So you know it. So give
Yeah.
it to me.
Yeah.
And then you need to explain it to them.
Okay.
So he's going to explain it to his team. The other team should not say anything because you'll be helping them. And then they're going to win, okay? So you'll explain the word in 30 seconds. Explain it in words without moving your body, without using miming or anything. Just language. Explain the word, they have to guess it.
I work for somebody. I work for somebody.
Wonderful. Okay. So basically the passages are so easy, but when it's harder, it's kind of challenging for the students. Okay, so what we do is we give a point to this group, and I want to see if this group can win as well. So do we have a volunteer? No one? So you lose. You lose if you don't volunteer. Which one did you read? Yellow as well, so I have to remove this. Oh, don't show it to them. All right. So I have 30 seconds. Okay, thank you very much. Yes? Okay. Oh, we should make it more difficult next time. Okay, so that's, I just wanted to see that you all have, you understand the game, how it works. Okay, and then we just count the points. What I do at a certain stage is that what if a student comes and he looks at the word and he doesn't know it? So sometimes the student doesn't know the meaning, although the other students in the group know it. So say, how am I going to explain something I don't know? So what I do is I give 2 points, okay, for each word. So if the person doesn't know the meaning, we deduct a point already, okay? And then I explain it to this person. He goes and explains it to the group, but already it's out of 1, not out of 2. That's a suggestion, of course. But then you can do the vocabulary with dictionary work. For example, you can do matching. You can do putting in sentences. And I know that you have so many other suggestions to recycle the vocabulary. So that's the post-reading activity. These are the words that I used here, just as examples. And I put them in colors so that I can be careful that each student knows the word. These are the aims for the previous activities that we'd like to share, and if you have any other suggestions, please share them with us. We included this working together. Students get to have the chance for self-correction and autonomy. giving introvert, shy students the chance to participate. Then encourage teamwork spirit so that they work in teams, especially with the game. I always feel that is very motivating to the students. They get to shout, they get to be really excited to win. So they work together as a team. Getting the students to interact with each other, of course, and with the text, as you suggested somehow.
Okay. Okay. Now, of course, after you finish this, you can link the reading text you have with any other skill that you think is suitable or the students want to, are weak in or want to learn more. So you can actually connect reading to other skills, like, for example, writing. We previously shared some vocabulary that we chose from the text. So you can ask students actually to rewrite the text using this vocabulary, or you can ask them to write sentences about the vocabulary depending on the level you have. Or you can actually ask them to rewrite the text and actually put a different ending, or try to make something out of it. Or what did they, what was funny to them? Did they like it? They didn't like it? So they're like review of the text. Or they can actually write about themselves, about their own experiences, like something that failed when they were trying to do, or a silly mistake they made once and revealed them, a guilt thing that they would like to share with us if they share, okay? So you can actually link it to writing, or in another way, you can also link it to speaking. How can you link it to speaking? You can ask actually students from each group, for example, a yellow. Do we have a yellow here? Yes, please. And a blue, yes, and a green. You can make them sit in pairs of 3. Each one can actually talk and tell the others about what he has read. Okay, and so they can share what they read with the others using the speaking activity, and then you can check their all understanding and see whether they actually communicated the idea that they read about. So these were our few suggestions about teaching reading and trying to have communication in the reading class. I hope you enjoyed it, and sorry we've been like doing this on a very short notice, so inshallah next time it's going to be better, okay?
We just wanted to share some ideas and experience, and I'd like to see if you have any comment, any question, please share it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate your nice presentation. And by the end of this presentation, in fact, we come to the end of the forum. General Coordinator of the Joint Programs, Dr. Abu Abdullah Ahmed Mbashir, is very pleased to honor the participants, the presenters. So kindly please ask to come up here. Please keep on here. Keep on here. Around. Okay. So, seriously? In fact, we are very pleased to start with Dr. Muwaffaq Al-Momani. Please come here. The second presenter was Dr. Alerio Romero. I saw Dr. Sarah running, so please calm down. Let's take the other one. So, Mr. Harry Ernest. The other presenter was Dr. Sarah Hussein. The other presenter is Mr. Augustine Francisco. Of course, with the promise, he will be given another chance for his presentation, inshallah. And the mutual presentation done by Ms. Reem Al-Dakhil and Ms. Ghada Ghabash. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, in fact, thanks a lot for your participation. I don't know whether you want to just add anything.
Just to say thank you for everybody for participating in this open forum, and especially thanks for who is working to prepare for this workshop or conference, Dr. Muhammad Yusri and Dr. Muwaffaq and Dr. Ahmed Nasif and Dr. Sharhabil and Dr. Ahmed Karamallah. Thank you for everything you do it for this successful conference. Thanks a lot.